Okay, so there's a lot of tricky things going on in this file. Let's see, you had, I guess, uh, sort of a paper thin panel like this panel here that was joined surfaces arrayed out, and then you use the solid extrude surface straight. What that does is it breaks that poly surface up and creates a whole lot of individual surfaces that are extruded down with surfaces on every edge, creating double faces, multiple edges, 3D printer confused on what's inside and outside, a lot of issues. So I wouldn't use that command because it will break down individual surfaces and extrude them. If you wanted to sort of make a puzzle piece that combined to make this, it would be good for that because it would print individual pieces, but you'd have to give some space between them all for the printer to not have them all joined together. So what I did, I took uh, that layer, selected one of those roof panels here, and moved it into this paper thin panel layer here. So another issue I did find is when you select all these faces, and this has been happening in yours, and join, Control J, I don't know if you noticed, but this kind of area here, something strange happened. I deleted it when I found it in 3D Max, and it seems to be connected to the join command. So I'm going to undo that. You'll see that go back, and we will avoid that and just go ahead and make a mesh of all this. Not too sure what's wrong with that join command. So now I've got a mesh of all those surfaces. I'm going to hide, and then I can select all my mesh pieces here. So one thing I can do is go and join all those mesh pieces and then array them. First thing you want to take a look at here is there's some sort of inefficiencies in the way it builds the mesh. I'm not too sure why, but there's an extra edge right here that's a flat planar surface, and so that will be an open edge. It'll create issues. There's one vertex here, but there's not a matching edge and vertex coming from that other face. So what we can do is go to Mesh, Mesh Edit Tools, and Collapse Vertex. And we'll have to do it on all four of those. And that will just remove that vertex so that when we array it, we don't have a repeated open edge error. So I'm going to select all that. That is one giant mesh. Everything else looks alright. There's some edges that could be turned, but I'm not going to be too picky. I'm going to go ahead and array this 10 by 4. And then our unit spacing, we'll use Smart Track on here so that we can set that vertex, and that vertex is a reference point since we don't have a true corner to offset this array. We'll do the same on that side. So there we are, all the pieces. Enter to accept, select them all, and join them, and then we can export selected and overwrite our paper thin 10 by 4 array. So I'm going to say new file since I just found that error. I'm going to import that new file. It should have been written a minute or so ago. Go ahead and open, hit OK. Here it is. It's cleaned up. You can go ahead and put optimize. It looks like it did a pretty good job. Past couple times it had added the vertex on this side, but not on the other side of the panel. So what we can do is go ahead and go into vertex mode with that object selected. Select all the vertices. Turn down our weld threshold 0.2 inch, 0.02 inches. Hit select, and you'll see that vertex list drop down. Open this up and go to edge mode. Select them all. This is just for appearance reasons. I'm auto edging and auto smoothing the faces. If you had curved surfaces or something like that, so the next thing, we will go into edge mode and select open edges, and what we should see is all of our open boundaries, and it looks right. Before I had them here, and then I also had them here because the vertex, extra vertex on one side and not on the other. So you can fix some of that stuff in Max, but I showed you how to do it in Rhino if you do see that. But you do need to analyze things before you go and copy them and make sure they're not going to multiply an arrow all the way across. Alright, so we've got this object. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this. So Control, with it selected, Control V, or that didn't work. I can go to Edit and Clone and ask for a copy of that geometry, and then I'm going to move that down by maybe, I'm not too sure what your value is, but I'll say negative 0.4 inches. And so that moved that down. So these are two separate objects, and the reason I did that is so you can actually go back to your one here. We've got the select open edges, and if I right click on the extrude panel, that'll extrude it. You can see in my undo list here, there was an extrusion. It didn't move it at all. And if you right click on these spinners here, it does something at a 0 degree. So we can go ahead and move this again to negative 0.4 inches. And it should have moved that edge down. It did not, did it? It did. It just didn't update it or something. Yeah, okay, so sometimes visuals don't update. So basically we've got that outer edge extruded down to the copied surface here. You can see the normals are not right on that, so I'm going to select all those polygons and flip the normals. And then we should have the normals facing the right way. Let me go ahead and check. So if we go into the face mode, we can show the normals, and nope, they're going the opposite way. So that means my other one may be wrong too. So I'll go up here and select, and those are all pointing the wrong way. So this, you just got to check which way normals are before you finally attach the other object, and select and weld all the vertices. Then we should have in our object list, if we hit H, we should just have one object. We can probably rename this STL check pass, and make sure I'm not in a sub-object mode. Go to the top of the edit mesh modifier and then put STL check, and hopefully 0 errors. Alright, so that's done. Thanks.